The most defensive spells in D&D come from the Abjuration school. But just because it's defensive doesn't mean that it can't pack a punch. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. The first spell on today's list is going to be Beacon of Hope. This spell bestows creatures of your choice within 30 feet of you with hope. Those creatures gain advantage on wisdom and death saving throws and automatically heal for the maximum possible healing from any source. While that might not sound crazy, being able to guarantee a certain amount of healing can be clutch when you're in dire straits. This becomes even more effective when it's used in tandem with group healing spells. Prayer of Healing heals 6 creatures 2d8 plus your spellcasting modifier, which guarantees 16 minimum healing, not including your modifier, to 6 creatures. But if you're not convinced, consider this. Once creatures are marked with this beacon, they still gain the benefit outside of the initial 30-foot range. The only real negative to this spell is that it requires concentration, but that kind of makes sense because of how powerful it can be in combat. And considering that the range doesn't matter after they're marked, healing from any source is automatically maxed, which makes this spell incredibly effective and clutch in combat. And if for some reason a party member does go unconscious, which shouldn't be possible, but if they did, they have advantage on their death saves, which is nearly invaluable. So be sure to pick up Beacon of Hope the next chance you get. Next, we have a spell that you have hopefully heard of before, and that would be the 4th level spell Banishment. You attempt to send one creature that you can see within 60 feet of you to another plane of existence. If the creature is from the plane you are currently on, then they are banished to a demi-plane and become incapacitated. They remain there for a minute or as long as you concentrate on the spell. But if the creature is not native to the plane that they are currently on, then they are banished back to their home plane. I literally cannot explain how clutch this spell is. Banishing a creature for an entire minute can be so big in the heat of combat. When rounds of combat last 6 seconds, players can struggle to get a breath in during it, and that is exactly what the spell can give you. Giving your party a minute to not only breathe, but to heal and prepare is invaluable in a difficult combat situation. Just think about it. 1 minute means that a player could get off 10 spells before the creature gets back, if they get back. But also consider this, readying actions. Use your first 9 rounds of combat to help prepare for that, and that last round, ready your actions as an entire group so your entire party can hit that son of a bitch with everything you've got when they're back. This gives the entire group a round of attacks before initiative even picks up again. The amount of relief and excitement can really not be described in words when you get a successful banishment off in a difficult fight. I'm honestly struggling to exemplify how amazing it feels. So why don't you try it for yourself and pick up Banishment the next chance you get. Next up, we move into the first damaging spell for today's list, and that would be Armor of Agathis. Okay, yeah, Armor of Agathis, but it deals damage. Trust me. You create a protective magical force of frost around you, granting 5 temporary hit points. When a creature hits you with a melee attack, that armor explodes, dealing 5 damage that lasts up to an hour or until you lose your temporary hit points. That might sound minuscule, but how this spell functions is really unique. Regardless of how many temporary hit points you have, each melee attack continues to deal 5 damage, meaning that theoretically this spell could deal 25 damage being casted at standard level. Obviously that's highly improbable, but you can upcast this spell to increase its potency. Each level above first level increases the temporary hit points and the damage by 5. So a 2nd level spell would give you 10 HP and deal 10 damage, a 3rd level spell would give you 15 HP and another 15 damage, and so on. You get a lot more mileage out of this spell if you upcast it. While the spell does require you to get up close and personal with your enemies, its combination of offensive and defensive capabilities make it hard to beat. The one negative to this spell is that it is a little bit limited in who can pick it up. But if you have the opportunity, Armor of Agathis is such a well-rounded spell, it is almost always worth picking up. The next spell on our list is a favorite of K-Man from our live D&D game, and that would be Sanctuary. Speaking of which, that kind of reminds me, you should subscribe so you're notified of when we post a video or we go live, which happens to be every Friday at 7:30 p.m. EST, so hit the button. Please hit the button. I need help. Help me! Anyway, Sanctuary. You ward a single creature against attacks. Anything that targets the warded creature with an attack or a spell must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, that creature must attack another creature or waste their attack or spell. Just to put everything out in the open here, this spell is the bane of DMs around the world. Or at least me, because I hate this spell. The Sanctuary effect takes place after the creature declares the attack, but before the attack is rolled, meaning that if a creature wanted to attack the squishy wizard with Sanctuary up, if they fail their initial wisdom save, they either need to attack his big paladin brother or waste the attack. I know that might sound a little bit underwhelming, but this spell is just so good at adding another layer of defense to the less tanky members of your team. As a DM, I almost always forget about this damn spell, and it completely throws me off. When you want to attack something, and you get told, as the DM, roll a wisdom saving throw. Dude, shut up! I became the DM so I could say that to you! Honestly though, think about it. This is effectively like imposing disadvantage on one of your party members. Yes, I know that it's not technically disadvantage, but it does lock a successful attack of a party member behind 2 rolls of a d20, which is effectively the same thing. If they succeed on the wisdom save, they also need to succeed on the attack roll. If they fail the wisdom save, they either need to attack another creature or waste the attack. So if you have squishier party members who like to be in the line of fire for some reason, make sure somebody takes this spell. Or don't, that's up to you. And that brings us to our final spell for today's list, which I really, and I mean really struggled with. I went back and forth between 2 spells, and honestly, I am not sure I made the right choice. Actually, you know what? F it, you're getting both. The final 2 spells for today's list are going to be Counterspell and Greater Restoration. I saved these 2 spells for last because they are 2 spells that are included in nearly every must-have list. But I still feel it's important to bring them up as they are staples in 5th edition. If you've ever played a game of D&D, you probably know why Counterspell is a must-have. It's a reaction that allows you to counter an enemy's spell depending upon the level of their spell. I don't think I need to explain to you, but being able to just say, yeah, nah, to an enemy's spell is just arguably overpowered. To exemplify this, let's just say you hit level 7 and you got your first 4th level spell slot. You're all excited to pick up that blight spell you've been staring at for the past couple of months, and you finally get the chance to cast it at the big bad, and all of a sudden, they say, yeah, nah. That feeling of absolute letdown is why Counterspell is a must-have on any self-respecting spellcaster's spellbook. Greater Restoration, on the other hand, is a completely different type of spell. It's a healing spell that doesn't technically heal hit points. You imbue a creature with positive energy and undo a debilitating effect. You can remove a curse, a charm, a petrified effect, or any reduction of ability scores or hit points. This is definitely not your normal healing spell, but it is arguably one of the most important healing spells you'll ever take. Here's the deal: Petrification. If you or a party member is petrified, you are stuck as a rock until someone with Greater Restoration comes along. Now, petrification isn't exactly common in D&D, but becomes much more prevalent in the higher tiers of play. Some really popular monsters like Medusas and Beholders are known for this effect, and they start appearing more frequently the higher level you get. Chances are, there's going to be some unlucky party member that's going to become a really nice garden statue at some point in time. So make sure you pick up Greater Restoration whenever you can, or else you might be the unlucky one stuck in a Beholder's vegetable garden. And that does it for my 6 must-have Abjuration spells. As always, I wanted to end the video with a huge thank you to our patrons. Y'all are amazing, and there's nothing more to say aside from thank you for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel, you can also check out our Patreon, linked down below. Patrons get access to all of our homebrew, items, NPCs, and special roles in our Discord, which is also linked in the description below for you to check out. Also, if you have any spells that are must-have, leave a comment and let me know. I read every comment, almost always reply, and who knows, I might even feature your comment in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on Friday.